Welcome to our channel Blender Tips. In this tutorial, you will learn that how we can create a different material with the help of nodes in Blender. And here you can see that I open the Blender, and here this is the 3D viewport in camera view, and this is the shader editor. And you can also add material in layout section, and here in material panel you can see that we can add the material as same as in shading. So how we can create different materials? Before creating different material, we should aware the different basics types of the node and also the workflow. And here in shader editor, there are a few basics nodes which are used to create the different type of materials. Here are the noise texture, Voronized textures, wave textures, brick textures, Musgrave textures, magic textures, color ramp, mix RGB. These nodes can be used to create a different type of material. A tons of material we can create to understand these textures. So in this video, we can learn these texture in detail. And here you can see that we can change the name of the material. And here I type the basics. Nice. And you can also see that in material section, the material name is also be changed. So first, how we can control and these nodes. So for that, we learn the some basic shortcut to play with these nodes. When you select any node, then by pressing the left button, you can move the node anywhere to create your scene. And how we can add the different nodes. So for that, we can press Shift A, and here you can see the shortcuts which I press. By pressing Shift A, and here you can see the different nodes we can add, and here you can see the input, output, shader, textures, colors, vector, converter, and so on. And here the textures which can be used to create a tons of different material. And here you can see the names of the texture which I read earlier. And here you can search the node which you can add in our scene. Here I type Here I type the noise texture, and here you can see that we can add the node into the 3D editor by pressing Shift A. And if I left click this socket and connect with the base color and drag to the base color and left it, then this socket connect with this socket. And here you can also move by using the left mouse button. Nice. And if you want to delete this node, then you can press delete, and here you can see that we can delete the node. And you can also delete the node by using press X, from where you can delete the nodes. Beautiful. And how we can cut these wires? So for that, by pressing Control, and you can right click and drag, and here you can see that the lines appear which cut these wires. And you can also connect these wires by dragging it to the material output. By pressing Shift A, here I add a Voronized textures, and here you can see the Voronized texture. And by pressing the textures and press Ctrl Shift and click the textures, you can preview the node. And here I am in solid viewport, and by pressing Z, I am enter into the rendered view, and here you can see that the Voronized texture is applied to our object. And if I want to add the mapping and texture coordinate, which are very helpful. So for that, by selecting the node, I can press Ctrl P, and here you can see that the texture coordinate and mapping are added to our 3D shader viewport. And here are different texture coordinate by default generated, and we can also change these by drag and drop into the sockets. And this is the feature of node wrangler add-on. And if you unable to node wrangler, then you enter into the preferences, and here in add-on, and here you type the node, and here you can see that I enable the node wrangler add-on. If you want to add another sockets a rewrote, then by pressing shift you can click the right click and drag, and here you can see that, and by pressing G we can move this somewhere to create the node in a arranged form. So these are the shortcut keys which are very useful to create the shaders in the Blender. Now I explain all the nodes one by one. For that, first I select these three nodes and press delete to delete them, and also delete this rewrote. And then press shift A. Here I add the noise texture, which is very useful to create a different patterns. And here I connect with the base color, and here you can see that the noise texture is applied to our sphere. And here I increase the scale, detail, roughness, and also the distortion in the noise texture. And if I want to see this noise in color form, then I add a color ramp by pressing shift A. Here I add the color ramp, and I drag the color ramp between the noise texture and the principal BSDCF. And here you can see that I select this bar, and here I change the color something like green color, and here you can see that the noise color is changed. We can also change the another colors like some blue type colors, and if I move these, then you can see that the different patterns of the noise can be seen in colorful form. I select the noise texture, and by pressing Ctrl T, this will be add the mapping and texture coordinate, which is the feature of node Wrangler add-on. And here I connect the objective coordinate with the mapping. And here you can see that the noise texture is nicely applied to our object. And here you can scale the noise texture as you want. And here you can also create the distortion to create the nice effect. Beautiful. Now the another texture, I delete this noise texture, and here I add another structure which is the Voronezh texture, and here I add the Voronezh texture, and I connect with this vector and the distance with the color ramp. And here you can see the different pattern of the Voronezh texture is applied to our object. And there are the different functions in Voronezh texture. Here is the scale. We can increase the scale, and here we can change it to f2, and here is the smooth, and here distance to h, and here you can see that the n spheres. So with the help of, and here is also the dimensions of the Voronezh textures. And if we reduce the randomness, then you can see that the pattern is also be changed, and this can create a very beautiful pattern when we want to create the different types of material. So I delete this, and I add the another nice texture which is the wave textures by pressing shift A, and here I search the wave texture and place it here and connect with the vector and also connect with the color apps. And here you can see that a beautiful patterns of waves is applied to our sphere. And here are the different things, options from where we can change the value to create the different patterns of the wave textures. And if I increase the scale, you can see that the numbers of waves are added to our sphere. I can reduce this to see these waves clearly, and here is the sorry, and here is the distortion. We can distort these waves as you like to create the beautiful pattern. And here we can add the details and also the another function. And here is the phase offset, which create the nice animation by adding frame to our timeline. Nice. I delete this wave textures, and here I add the another texture which is also a very important to create a some brick type material. So for that I add the brick texture, and here I connect the vector with the vector and the color with the vector of the color ramp. And here you can see that the brick patterns is applied to our object. And here are the different option in brick textures. By pressing the offset, you can see that the bricks are aligned, and here you can see that the bricks are alignments are changing. And here is the frequency. You can change the pattern, and here are the different options. And here we can change the color of the bricks, but here I apply the color ramps, which uh, from where the color ramp materials are shown in our bricks form. And here is the mortar color. Mortar color is the color between the bricks. And here if I delete this color ramp and connect with the base color, and here you can see that I explain this color, and this is the white color. And if I change this, then you can see that the bricks colors is changing. And this is the gray color. These gray type colors bricks, and if I change this color, then you can see that the bricks of the gray color is changing. Nice. And this is the mortar color, the space between these bricks. And here we can also change the mortar color, and here I increase, and here you can see that the color of the mortar is changing. And here you can scale the bricks up and down, and from here you can increase or decrease the distance between the bricks, like the mortar size. And I also decrease this value. And here are the different option. And here this is the beautiful option from where you can change the from here you can change the width of the brick and height. And if I change to the width, then you can see that the brick's width is changing. And if I want to change the height, then you can see that the heights of the bricks is also be changing. I delete this brick textures, and here I add the another texture, which is the Musgrave textures, which is also very useful to create the different types of material. And here I connect with the vector, and here I connect with the base color. And here you can see that the Musgrave texture is applied to our object. And here we can also change the colors of this Musgrave by adding the color ramp. And here I apply the color ramp, and I select this, and here I increase the color. And now this time I choose some pink type material, and here I choose some blue type material. And you can see that with the help of Musgrave texture, we can create the beautiful pattern. And here are the different options of the Musgrave texture. And here you can scale up and down the Musgrave textures. And here is the detail. The detail is the roughness between the red and blue color. And here we can also change the dimension, and also the very important option, linearity. And here if we change this, you can see that the beautiful patterns is changing. Nice. And I delete this Musgrave texture, and the next texture is the magic texture. And I press Shift A to apply the magic textures. And here I connect the vector and here you can see that the beautiful pattern is created. And we can also change its depth, and here you can see that. And we can also scale down and up to create the beautiful patterns of the magic texture. And here is the distortion. We can also distort the magic texture to create the beautiful pattern. Nice. You can also use the multiple nodes to create a different patterns. For that, first I select delete this magic texture, and here I add the noise texture, and this is the noise texture. And I connect the noise texture, and here you can see that. And if we make these edges sharp, then we can move these, and here you can see that the edges are sharps. and here I want to distortion. Here I add the Voronized texture, and here is Voronized texture, and I place Voronized texture in between the mapping and the noise texture. And here you can see that the Voronized texture is distort the noise texture. And if I connect with this, and here you can see the beautiful patterns is formed with the help of Voronized texture and noise texture. And without this, you can see that this is the noise texture. And if I press Control Shift and press the node, and here you can see that this is the black and white data of the Voronized texture. And if I connect with this, and here I press Control Shift and select this, you can see that the pattern. And with the help of these values, you can change the pattern as you want. And also you can scale up and down the pattern with the help of noise texture. And here I delete the noise texture, and here I want to add the wave texture. I connect with this, and here I add the wave textures to create some another beautiful pattern, and I place it here. And here you can see that, and if I scale this value and scale down this, then you can see that the different wave rings are created with the help of wave texture and Voronized texture. And here we can also change the bands to the rings, and here you can see that the pattern is also be changed. And if I place this texture, brick textures, wave texture in between the here, and here I apply with the vector, and I connect with the color ramp. And here you can see that by changing the place of the Voronized texture and wave texture, the patterns is also be changed. So with the help of different node combination, you can create the different shaders, different output, and different patterns in Blender. Now I delete this node, and here I want to add another node, which is the noise texture, and I connect the noise texture with the vector and also with the base color. And here I want to add some bumps. To see the bumps clearly, here I add the color ramp. I delete this. Here I want to add the color ramp and place the color ramp. And here I change the colors, and I also select this and also change its color. And by pressing the plus button, you can add the more pointer, and here I select this, and here I also change the color. And you can drag these to create a different patterns. And if I add the depth to this pattern, so for that I add I connect the noise texture with the normal of the principal PSTF CF. And here you can see that this is the shader issue, and this is because this is the black and white data, and this is the normal data. And the difference color sockets having their different meanings, and you can connect these socket with the same color. And here you can see that this is the gray color and this is the blue color. And the meaning and purpose of these colors is that the yellow color is denote the color data, and here this is the color data. And the purple is denote the normal data, and the green denote the shader data, and the gray is denote the black and white data. So this is the black and white data, and this is the normal data. To convert the black and white data into the normal data, we add a node, the name bump node. And here I place the bump node in between noise texture and the normal. And here I plug in with the height. And here you can see that the fake bumps are added to our scene. And this is due to, this is the normal data into the this is the black and white data into the black and white socket, and bump node convert the black and white data into the normal data, and this will create a fake bump to our object. And here we can increase or decrease the strength, and here by pressing this you can invert the fake bumps. So I delete the color ramp and bump, and here I add the another node like a Voronized texture. And if I want to join these two textures, then I add a mix RGB into our shader editor. By pressing shift we add the mix RGB or mix color, and here you can see that we can connect these two nodes with each other. And here I place the factor in color 1 and distance in color 2, and here I change and I connect with the base color. And here by changing the factor you can see that here this is the total Voronized texture, noise texture, and if I drag this factor to 1, and this is the Voronized texture pattern. And you can also add these mix shader with the help of shortcut keys, and by pressing shift I select both these textures, noise texture and Voronized texture, and by pressing control 0 you can see that we add the mix color in our scene. This will automatically connect with the color A and B. Beautiful. And if I add a color ramp in between mix and principal BSDF, and here I want to change the color, and here I also want to change the color, and I also add this with the normal, and here you can see that this is also a shading issue. And here by pressing shift here I add the bump node, and I convert this and plug in with height, and here you can see the pattern. Nice. And now I select all these node and press delete to delete this. And now I add how we can add the displacement, material displacement. So for that here I add some Voronized texture, and I place it with the vector, and I place with this color ramp, and by pressing shift, and here I add the color ramp and I place it here, and here I want to add some colors to our sphere, and here I also add some blue type color. And if you want to add the displacement, material displacement, then here I use the Voronized texture to displace the color. So I connect with this displacement, and here you can see that this is also an shader issue because this is the black and white data and this is the displacement data. So how we can convert the black and white data to the displacement data? So for that, by pressing shift I add the displacement node and I place displacement between the Voronized texture and the material output. And here if I into the height, and here you can see that we can create a displacement, material displacement, and here I also in a cyclic render because the material displacement not work in EB render. And here is the scale, and here you can see that we can scale up and down the material displacement. Beautiful. So in this way, in this basic tutorial, you can easily create the different type of material by the different combinations of the textures to create the beautiful patterns and beautiful materials. Thanks for watching.